Are you there, God? It's me, Davey. Hello, friends and lovers, and welcome to a very special Halloween treat, an intimate, candlelit conversation where you will bear the deepest, darkest questions burning in your soul to me, Davey Stranger. Well, friends, it's once again Halloween, the deepest, darkest day of the entire year. A night where spirits are free to roam the earth in search of lost love, and a day where you and I are free to bear the deepest, darkest secrets of our hearts to each other. I've received so many questions from you wonderful, tortured souls out there. It's made me as happy as a boy first falling in love. When I saw the amount of curiosities you all have about me, Davey Stranger, it made me so glad I nearly ruined my mascara. But alas, life is too short for such chit-chat. We must get right down to answering these questions right away. That way us tortured souls can go off into that deep night in search of becoming one with the darkness. Our first question today comes from my dear friend Scary Potter, who asks, Davey, what have you been listening to lately? Dear friend, I'm so pleased and flattered that you would ask this of me. Lately I've been listening to my brand new hit single, Crimson Promises, a tale of paradise lost and love gone bad. I've just released this song over on my Bandcamp page at www.daveystranger.bandcamp.com, and the critics are going absolutely mad. One dear listener said it was like putting your ear up to the edge of the abyss and hearing your own name being whispered back at you through the darkness. Another review simply stated that listening to this song was like falling in love, and then falling out of love, and then falling back into love, and then dying. If you were to ask me about Crimson Promises, I would simply tell you that it represents another fragment of my own fractured soul. I think of it as somewhat of a musical self-portrait, an ode to my own longing for love, beauty, and death. And you too may purchase this audio poem and hold it closely to your soul, until death do you part. All that you must do to acquire it and make it a part of your own life and death is to head over to my Bandcamp page at www.daveystranger.bandcamp.com and purchase it for a mere $1 or more if you feel it touches you somewhere deep inside of your soul. And while you're there, don't forget to check out my other singles, Unrequited Life and She Needs Poetry. But enough about me, let's talk about you. Asking questions about me. This question comes from Andy Whitten, who asks, if given the opportunity, would Davey live a life of silent, sad solitude while writing music that touches our hearts and reaches the masses? Or live a frivolous life of rock and roll passion and fire while only writing mediocre tunes that reach the few? Yes. This question comes from dear friend Trace Youngs, who asks, Davey, what is the meaning of life? Trace, I fear I can only answer your question with another question. What is the meaning of death? SGRBALD97 writes in to ask, always want to know what kind of guitar you prefer to use. Black ones. My dear friend Azrael Anguish writes in to ask, Dear Davey, what's new with the Strange Love Band? And do you all have any performances scheduled that I might see your own gothic romantic beauty firsthand? Dear Azrael, you might say that the Strangelove Band is experiencing what we might refer to as lineup problems currently. Earlier this year, our beloved percussionist, Lindsay Lovelace, had to check himself into rehab for his absinthe addiction. Lindsay, if you're there listening, our deepest hopes and prayers go out to you. So as a result of that, Davey Stranger and the Strangelove Band currently don't have any performances scheduled. And due to my own dire financial straits, I have agreed to play a number of concerts with local legendary 80s hair metal tribute band, Skank Banger. I personally find their selection of music from bands like Poison, Def Leppard, Rat, and Whitesnake to be the most base, senseless sort of drivel the musical world has ever seen, oozing machismo around every corner and completely devoid of romance and emotion. But a boy must do what a boy must do. I'm also really trying right now to get the band to bring in some Sisters of Mercy or Bauhaus songs into the repertoire, so we'll see how that goes. My first scheduled appearance with the band will be November 18th, 2017 in Knoxville, Tennessee at Scruffy City Hall. Please come out and share in my own torment and sorrow. Mike Russo writes in and asks, Davey, who is the cold and frail being that has broken your putrid heart? Her name is God. My dear friend Jacob Long writes in and asks, Aquanet or White Rain hairspray? Jacob, you should know that I only use Paul Mitchell Wild Ginger finishing spray, as it is cruelty-free. All it takes is a cursory glance at the local newscast or a walk out on the sidewalk to see that there's already enough cruelty in this world as it is. Why should I add to it with my hair treatment? My dear friend Blackie Rose wrote in to ask me, what time is it? It's about 10 seconds closer to the grave than when you asked. My dear friend Matthew Gilbert has a two-part question. The first one is, when did you first realize you were different? I wouldn't say that I so much had a realization that I was different as much as I had a realization that everyone else was the same. The second entry in Matthew's question is, Davey, it seems you're no stranger to heartbreak. What is the best way to get over an unrequited love? I can only speak from my own experiences of dealing with love gone bad, but personally, I like to sing. Ojopa writes in to ask, what is the saddest of all horror movies? Well, that's easy. The saddest of all horror films is the one that we ourselves narrate and direct every day, staring through the cold glass lenses of our own eyes, imprisoned by mortality to view nothing but cruelty, wrongness, and death all over the world. Also The Notebook. Our last question this evening comes from my dear friend Tummy Noodle, who asks, Davey, why couldn't I have met you before I got married? We could have been beautiful, you and I. Transcendent. Damn these eyes. I suppose I could answer your question with a little bit of good news during these dark and trying times. Every moment that we spend on this cursed, uncaring, and cold planet is a moment closer to that ultimate sweet release of death and the hope of finding peace in the next life. And the sooner that we perish means the sooner that we might cross paths in the next life. It is a very special bond that happens when you and I share the deepest, darkest parts of our souls with another, here on this dark night of Halloween. Thank you for being a part of this ritual here with me, Davey Stranger. And don't forget to go check out my brand new song, Crimson Promises, over on my Bandcamp page at www.daveystranger.bandcamp.com. Simply listening to this song will fill your own heart with sorrow and despair, but purchasing the song will help fill my cellar with wine. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but alas, our time is at an end. We must all separately go off into the deep dark night of Halloween in search of at least a moment of joy in this cold and cruel world. But I promise you we shan't be apart for long. I'll be seeing you wonderful, dark, and twisted souls again during the deepest, most frigid nights of Christmas time. Good night, my sweet princess and princesses, and may you have a happy Halloween.